Let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really brilliant, high-stakes UPSC ethics case study centering on the Teacher Eligibility Test, or TET mandate. We're going to step directly into the shoes of the decision-maker to navigate one of the absolute toughest tightropes in administration, which is balancing the rigid rule of law with human compassion.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The legal facts. 2. Core ethical dilemmas. 3. The case study of Sunita Devi. 4. Stakeholder analysis. 5. Evaluating options. And 6. Institutional reforms.
Starting with Section 1, the legal facts, understanding the Supreme Court and parliamentary context.
Okay, so the pressure cooker is officially on here. And just a quick surprising fact before we look at the dates. TET pass rates can actually hover around a mere 10 to 15%. So this test is a massive hurdle, even for absolute veterans. Here's the timeline. On May 29, 2026, the Supreme Court upheld that passing the TET is absolutely mandatory for in-service teachers, all to ensure the quality of education for children. But acknowledging practical hardships, they extended the deadline to August 31, 2028. Then, on August 10, 2026, the Education Ministry provided an update in Parliament via the PIB, which immediately sparked a huge debate. Teacher organizations raised a really vital question. Are experienced teachers actually going to lose their jobs simply because they can't pass a single new exam? The clock is definitely ticking.
Moving to Section 2, Core Ethical Dilemmas, the Clash of Fundamental Values.
What we have here is a fundamental clash. On one hand, you have the rigid rule of law, the idea that rules literally must be exactly the same for everyone, absolutely no exceptions. Pitted directly against this is compassion. Think about it. If an experienced teacher loses their livelihood over a single test format, is that strict justice or is it actual injustice?
And this builds into a massive question of distributive justice. How do we ethically weigh standardized merit, like a computer-based test, against decades of practical, proven teaching experience? Does a single test define a teacher's total worth, or is real-world experience just as valuable?
Before we jump into the roleplay, just keep these core concepts in the back of your mind. Notice specifically the children's right to education. That reminds us this isn't just about the teachers. It's about the student's fundamental right to quality learning. Also, consider proportionality. That's the ethical idea that the consequence, like losing a job entirely, must be proportionate to the failure. These concepts are going to be our guiding analytical lights.
Section 3, the case study of Sunita Devi, stepping into the shoes of the administrator.
Okay, imagine you are Vinay Kumar, a district education officer. In your district is Sunita Devi. She's a highly respected primary school teacher who has been teaching for 22 years. Her students consistently get great results, but she's failed the new computer-based TET twice. She explains to you that after decades in a physical classroom, she is just not comfortable with this new computer-based testing style.
So here is the crux of the problem. Sunita now faces termination despite her stellar record. But at the exact same time, you've got unemployed, TET-qualified youth in your district desperately waiting for jobs. And they're rightfully arguing that bending the rules or granting exemptions to seniors is totally unfair and discriminatory against them.
You have a really difficult choice to make here. Do you rigidly terminate her to follow the exact letter of the law? Do you secretly protect her out of empathy? Or do you try to find a third path?
Section 4, stakeholder analysis, mapping the impact of your decision.
You know, this dilemma isn't just about Vinay and Sunita. It's actually a five-way pull. You've got Vinay's duty versus his compassion. You've got Sunita's dedication facing termination. You have the student's right to uninterrupted quality education. Then there's the qualified youth demanding fairness and equal opportunity. And finally, you have the state education system itself, which is trying to balance long-term educational quality against short-term human suffering.
Section 5, evaluating options, applying philosophical frameworks to the dilemma.
Let's look at option 1, strict termination. Basically, if she fails the test by the deadline, she is fired. The pro here is obvious, right? It's perfectly consistent with the rules, but the con is incredibly heavy. It completely lacks circumstantial fairness and totally ignores 22 years of proven dedication to her students.
And as the great philosopher Aristotle advises us, true justice isn't just blind legal uniformity. Applying a rule without any flexibility whatsoever can sometimes mutate into outright injustice.
So what about option 2? What if you just look the other way, informally delaying her dismissal without officially changing any policy just to protect her livelihood?
Well, the intention might be good, but the drawbacks are massive. It lacks transparency, opens the door to arbitrary corruption, and frankly, it's deeply unfair to the qualified youth waiting for their turn.
Immanuel Kant would fiercely oppose option 2. He reminds us that secretly bypassing rules destroys institutional integrity. If you ignore the rules today out of pity, you're creating a discriminatory precedent that's definitely going to be abused tomorrow.
Which leads us to option 3. Operating within the rules to formally propose support. You basically push for a formal policy change at higher levels, like requesting special training for seniors or alternative evaluations, while simultaneously continuing the parallel fair recruitment of qualified youth.
This right here is the optimal choice. It perfectly harmonizes John Rawls' theory of justice, which says policy must protect the most vulnerable, in this case, older teachers struggling with technology, without stripping the rights of the youth. And it embodies Mahatma Gandhi's belief that compassion and strict adherence to correct procedures are not contradictory. True ethical leadership finds the human solution within the right process.
Section 6. Institutional Reforms. Fixing the System for the Future.
Because we don't just want a Band-Aid, here's an actionable 4-step institutional reform derived from our analysis. Step 1. Mandate special computer-based training for in-service seniors. Step 2. Give partial evaluation weightage to their decades of teaching experience and actual student results. Step 3. Introduce age-flexible testing formats for those over a certain age. And Step 4. Maintain total clarity in recruitment policies so the youth's opportunities are never compromised. Ultimately, what this explainer demonstrates is that ethical administration is never just a simple binary choice. It isn't about choosing between the rule of law and compassion. It's about expertly and transparently harmonizing both, maintaining the integrity of the institution while never losing sight of the human beings impacted by it. I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative homework question to test your own moral compass. If you had to write 150 words right now on how to balance strict adherence to rules with sensitivity to human circumstances, how would you do it? And more importantly, which philosopher's theory would you call upon to defend your stance? Take a moment, think it over, and apply it to your own understanding of ethical leadership. Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Keep analyzing and keep